Nobody really speaks highly of Ubisoft anymore, and I would be afraid as an employee to work there because they're constantly laying people off, letting them go, and now we're finding out that even more Assassin's Creed developers have been kicked to the curb. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, when a company is going through major changes and major restructuring, it is always a very worrying time as an employee. And if I was one at Ubisoft, I would be shaking in my boots all the time because they're constantly letting people go, constantly canceling projects and splitting up teams. And they have been struggling financially. They have this big deal with Tencent for this creative house where they're handing off some of their largest series. We know that they just had faced one of the largest security breaches in the history of the video game industry, and the past few years have not yielded a lot of money for them. They have lost hundreds of millions, probably to $1 billion on multiple games, and now we're finding out that they are closing more of their studios, which they are claiming is a coincidence, but I don't trust Ubisoft or anything that they say. And so I'm very skeptical of this, like a lot of people. So Ubisoft is closing its Halifax studio, and it claims the decision is unrelated to the recent unionization. Now, unions are important in certain fields. When we're talking about, I don't know, protecting people's rights and protecting people's safety, and we're talking about individuals doing jobs like they could die from, such as construction work, for example. It's very dangerous. But I feel quite differently when we're talking about the video game industry because these people are generally paid extremely well. They are part of this industry that makes over $200 billion a year. So there are always thousands upon thousands of jobs available. And we are talking about most studios having like these really large like HR teams and divisions. And we're not talking about people that are in danger at all at work whatsoever, because really these unions in the video game industry, from what we have seen, are basically just a way for people to come together and for them to demand change in the workplace. They are demanding that certain stories are told. They are demanding that certain people on teams are let go that they do not agree with. And really, it is just a way for these activists to enact more change. At least in the video game industry. I'm not saying that's always the case. Now, Ubisoft has closed this studio, which it is claiming that it doesn't have anything to do with the unionization, but a lot of people are doubting that. Companies don't want to have to deal with unions. In an email sent to staff on Wednesday, reviewed by VGC, Ubisoft said it had decided to close Ubisoft Halifax as part of company-wide cost-cutting and restructuring measures. Halifax is the studio behind the mobile title Assassin's Creed Rebellion. Only last month, Ubisoft Halifax workers formed a union with around 60 workers signing up to the Game and Media Workers Guild of Canada. Ubisoft claimed the decision to close Halifax was made well before this decision and said it fully respects employees' right to unionize. Over the past 24 months, Ubisoft has undertaken company-wide actions to streamline operations, improve efficiency, and reduce costs. As part of this, Ubisoft has made the difficult decision to close its Halifax studio. And it's not like this is a lie. They have laid off hundreds of people. They have canceled games. They have closed down studios and divisions at this company because they're desperate, because so many of their recent games have failed, because they are losing a lot of money, and really they are not viewed as a respectable company in this industry anymore. So yes, they have been doing this. Now, if it was really planned out months before, who knows? But I'm sure if they claim that, they can probably prove it. 71 positions will be affected. We are committed to supporting all impacted team members during this transition with resources, including comprehensive severance packages and additional career assistance. And it's been a turbulent year for the Assassin's Creed publisher, which late last year opened a new subsidiary, part owned by Tencent, Vantage Studios, which now oversees the biggest franchises. And when you look at the troubles that Ubisoft is going through right now, it's really no shocker to see them laying off dozens and dozens of people a freaking day. Skull and Bones was a quadruple A failure that lost them hundreds of millions of dollars. Apparently, they had put $300 million into this development cycle. I know that that number's been speculated a lot, but that seems to be the sort of average. You have X Defiant, which came out. It was supposed to be a massive title. There was a lot of hype and excitement behind it. It was supposed to be the Call of Duty killer, and well, it is already dead itself. Nobody played it. Nobody showed up to support it. And in my opinion, one of the major problems wasn't even the game itself. I thought that the gameplay was actually pretty good. It's that they were not updating maps. They were not updating guns. They were not adding new content. It's like they got lazy. They thought that they were just going to, smash into the scene and that they were going to overthrow their competition by doing the bare minimum, which clearly did not work. Star Wars Outlaws had a lot of problems before it even released because of the way that they made the lead actress look, the fact that it launched in an extremely buggy and broken state, and we saw that weeks before launch because of all of the teasers and trailers and early looks at gameplay. But on top of that, Star Wars was already tarnished. A lot of people are sort of sick and tired of Disney Star Wars, and this just felt very similar. In my opinion, Arc Raiders should have been a Star Wars game. If Arc Raiders had been a Star Wars title, people would have loved it even more than they already do, because it would have gotten a lot of normies into the space, and Arc Raiders looks a lot like a Star Wars title, at least in my opinion. Then you found out that it had the largest marketing budget they'd ever put towards a game. That didn't help it. And then Assassin's Creed Shadows came along, and that was not a terrible experience. It just also was a modern Assassin's Creed title, and a lot of people do not like those types of games. They have never given us solid sales numbers. One would assume it did make some money, but if it made what they wanted, really doesn't seem so, given they've canceled all future DLC launches. The Attack on Titan crossover was abysmal, and well, they're just struggling right now. So to hear that they're closing the studio isn't shocking, and I've got to be honest, I really do not feel that bad. I want to, in theory, say, oh, it's sad people are losing their jobs, but when you're working for a company like Ubisoft that hasn't put out anything good in years, a company that is ideologically captured, and a company that in general is just slacking in every way possible, I can't really sit here and shed a tear for them because they're losing money and have to go through this restructuring. I personally am more worried about the fact that it has been weeks of ongoing security problems and all of these hacks, and they still have not addressed it in a clear, comprehensive manner. They haven't released a video statement from like Yves Guillemot. They haven't made any long press release posts on it, nothing. They have tried to sweep it under the rug, and that right there is my number one problem with them. I have covered that in a couple of videos. I'll be linked down below, but a lot of people are pointing and kind of laughing at this Halifax studio closure, saying, oh, I don't feel that bad. It already was the beginning of the end of Ubisoft, so not shocking. Kind of sus how they closed down right after the union stuff. Hope the devs find better soon. And yeah, I hope that these people find jobs that they are happy with in the future. But at the same time, I can't feel all that bad for Ubisoft going through layoffs because they are in financial ruin. Quite a coincidence. I've been saying unions will do nothing in this industry because companies can find ways to easily get rid of people. You can't gatekeep an industry that is global. Good, they might finally become a proper company again. At Ubisoft, support now do this to the other studios. Good for them. Unions are bad for business. Useless studio closed down, women most affected. Yeah, and I've never played this mobile game, Assassin's Creed Rebellion. I mean, it visually doesn't look terrible, but is any Assassin's Creed fan really looking to play this? I just don't think. This is what you get for working for a woke company and them hiring woke people. Had nothing to do with the union. I believe it because of working on mobile projects, liberal mobile games, slop feminoids fired. Nice. Me when I union bust laughing. Welcome home. Put the fries in the bag. Oh no, not a loss of a mobile game studio. Maybe they should have just made better games. So yeah, Ubisoft is going through a lot of problems right now, but it looks like Assassin's Creed developers are being let go, and a lot of people are just saying, oh no, anyway. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.